Welcome back guys. Today we are talking about Cyberpunk 2077 PC requirements. So first few things you should know that is the game started development in 2015. The hardware back then was not as powerful as now, no RTX and stuff, and the engine used by Cyberpunk 2077 is Red Engine 4. That is basically an update to Red Engine 3, which was used by the game Witcher 3. Red Engine 4 supports ray tracing and stuff, and DLSS 2.0 of course. So now let's talk about the PC specs. So as you can see on the screen, minimum requirements are Windows 7 64-bit and Windows 10 64-bit, DirectX 12, and the processor on Intel side is i5 3570K, AMD FX 8310, RAM of 8GB, graphic card is on Nvidia side GTX 783GB and AMD Radeon RX 470, and for storage 70GB of storage. SSD recommended because of faster loading times. Let's talk about minimum PC specs. So if you are using this minimum requirement specs, there's no offense, but for a AAA title these specs are not as updated as today's generation PCs. So if you are using this minimum PC spec, I recommend to at least get a recommended system requirements, that is 64-bit Windows 10, DirectX 12, and a processor of on Intel side i7 4790 and Ryzen 3 3200G, and RAM of 12GB, graphic card is 1060 6GB or AMD R9 Fury, storage as well 70GB. So let's talk what's difference between these two. So i5 3570 is, I think it's a 4-core chip, maybe I'm wrong. I think it's a 4-core chip. I don't know about AMD FX. So you can run, but I would not recommend the minimum spec. So let's talk more about the recommended system requirements that most of you will have. So Windows 10 64-bit, DirectX 12. If you have DirectX 11, update to DirectX 12 because this is a DirectX 12 game. Processor i7 4790 and Ryzen 3 3200G. So Intel i7 4790 is a 4-core 8-thread chip, and Ryzen 3 3200G is a 4-core 4-thread chip. So for these processors, for Intel side it's an 4-core 8-thread chip, in Ryzen it's a 4-core 4-thread chip. If you are willing to play at 1080p 60, you don't need to upgrade any of this process. You are fine to play at 1080 60. If you are willing to play at 1080 144, I would recommend at least a 6-core 12-thread chip. That will be probably i5 10600K. On Ryzen side it will be Ryzen 5 3600. These two are 6-core 12-thread chips, and memory as usual keep it at 16GB, or if you want you can upgrade to 32. On graphic card side, if you want to play at 1080p 60, you are fine with 1066 gigs or AMD R9 Fury. If you want to play at 1080p 144. You should have at least, I think, a 1070 Ti or 1080 will be enough. We should see after the game release exactly how these numbers work out, but I'm hoping it will run on 1080 or 1080 Ti the best, without ray tracing, of course. If you want, so these are all without ray tracing requirements. If you want to play with ray tracing at 1080p in 144, you will at least require a 2060 Super or 2070 possibly, or if you want at 1440p. So by the way, if you have a 6 core 12 thread chip, this will not bottleneck with your GPU. It will bottleneck if you have a high-end GPU and low processor. So if you have a 6 core 12 thread chip paired with an RTX, it will not bottleneck, at least for this game. So an RTX 2060 Super or 2070 will be fine for 1080p 144, or in 1440p if you want 144 Hz. If you are using an 2080 or 2080 Ti, that will be fine, no need to upgrade. I know there is a 3070, but if you are just willing to play this game at 1080p, no, in 1440p at 144 with ray tracing, you don't need to upgrade your 2080 Ti. So if you are buying new to play this game, if you want to play this at 1440p at 144, I would suggest 3070. So 3070 is not yet released. We should wait for benchmarks to see how it performs. So probably for 1440p 144, a 6 core 12 thread chip and RTX enabled specs, a 6 core 12 thread chip, a graphic card of RTX 2060 or 2070 for 1080p 144, or for 1440p an RTX 2080 or 2080 Ti, or the new generation 3060s or 3070s will be fine. So that's the specs I would recommend. I'm not by any means a professional, but with basic knowledge this will be fine to run this game, because the recommended specs, as we know, is for 1080-60. At least that will be, by seeing this we can know it is a 1080-60 requirement recommended, because it's the general resolution people play in. So all these specs I mentioned will probably run fine on your PCs if you are upgrading, or if you already have the PC. So that's it. I'll try to build a budget PC with a 900 series graphic card. I think I'll see. I have 960. I'll try to run it on that graphic card. We'll see how much frame rates I'll get. And I have a 1060. I'll run on that, and probably I'll upgrade to 3070 or something in future. So that's it for this video. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more content like this, and PC specs of Cyberpunk I'll be testing more. So that's it. Have a nice day. This is GeForce XD signing off, and peace out.